This video is intended to show anyone how they can make custom retracts for the Tarot FY650, and some of the ideas are also transferable to other multicopters. Begin by turning the tarot upside down on the workbench and reviewing the parts we're going to need. The retracts were purchased at Hobby King, and they have a little metal rod or trunnion that can be removed by undoing the set screws. They were about $14 for a pair of those. The hardware was purchased at Home Depot. The metal threaded rod is at 8 by 32, and that'll run through your landing booms. It will be secured on each end. One end will have the T-nuts, which are 8 by 32, which the rod will screw into, and on the other end we'll have 8 by 32 nylon lock nuts. We also have a zip tie holders to secure the zip ties, a metal file, and a glue gun. Now we're going to remove the bolts that connect the boom to the turret. Here's the exploded view so you can see how they were removed and what it looks like. To get that bag of T-nuts out, we're going to need 4 of them. And I used hot glue, but you could also use epoxy if you want, just to secure them on each end of the boom. I found that the hot glue just seats them, but epoxy might be better. Ultimately, both ends will be secured by the threaded rod and a lock nut, so it shouldn't matter either way. And I haven't tested these yet, but I'm thinking maybe 2-part 5-minute epoxy might be a good way. But here I'm using some hot glue just to secure those T-nuts almost flush up against the boom on each end, so it'll create the holes needed to use the threaded rod. And then we're going to thread that threaded rod all the way through to the other end, and it takes a little while and you have to line it up. And once we get the threaded rod on one end, we're going to use those nylon lock nuts and using pliers on one end to hold the threaded rod, secure the lock nut so that the threaded rod is flush to the end. And now we have, and then screw back the boom so it's flush. Measure out 18 to 20 millimeters of rod. We're going to cut that using Dremel and a metal wheel, and we're going to do that for both sides. So these are the ends that will slide into the retract once we pull that trunnion out. So we're going to make sure that that's 18 millimeters and it will slide in to that trunnion area. You'll have to first remove the trunnion by using the 2 side set screws on each side. And we're going to do the same for each side. So let's pause now and get both of those booms ready. I'm going to remove the clip that holds the boom if you haven't already done that. So let's do that on both sides, and then we're going to just look at how the retract will slide into this clip. So the actual clip supports the retract fairly well. So here you can see a side view of how the clip holds in the retract really nicely. In order to get the Allen bolts all to line up, I had to file away just a little bit of the hole at the top outer portions on each side. Next we're going to remove the trunnion, which is a little metal rod coming out of the retract. We're not going to need that anymore. We're just going to test fit one of our booms, and there's a couple little set screws on each end, so in order for it to go up and down cleanly, you're going to need to leave a little bit of a space. And to see what kind of space you need, you can actually leave the set screws loose and then raise and lower it, and you'll see that in order to clear the bottom portion of the retract, there needs to be a little bit of a gap, and without that gap it will hit, so you need to have a little bit of a gap there. Now it's time to trim the zip tie supports. We're going to Dremel that, and we're just going to trim it so that it fits on the back of the retract. We're going to do all 4 sides so it'll fit between the screw holes, and then we're going to use the double-sided tape to stick it on, and this will help us put zip ties through it once it's secure. So let's pause for this step. So we have the zip tie holders in place. We're going to reinstall the retracts on the quad, and once they're reinstalled, again you're going to probably have to Dremel out a little bit on the front screw hole so that they can clear, and then we're going to insert the zip ties all the way through to secure the bottom half of the retract. Using pliers, pull it tight, that way your retract will be secure by the screws at the top and really secure at the bottom, so it'll be super secure. In order for your retracts to operate together, we make a Y connector. One of the final steps is to add CA super glue at the base of the threaded rod to make sure it will not unscrew. That'll keep it very secure with the lock nut on one end and secured on the other. Now we can just test the system without the skids on. They should be in sync with our Y connector. Everything should look good. And then once we're happy, we'll add the skids and lock down the screws at the base so they're all locked in. And that should do it. Congratulations. You've just completed your do-it-yourself FY650 Tarot Retracts. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.